Okay. Good morning, folks.
Good morning, Rabbi Fine.
Good morning and welcome. We continue learning our mimer, Hasidic discourse. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Borei. So the soul comes down into this body, into this world to refine the body and the world. That's what it comes down to. Right? The soul is righteous above, it's complete, it's whole. So, what does it need this whole thing? Does it need it for itself? It needs it for the body, the animal soul, and for the world, the material world. And that's the idea of tshuva, of returning the body, animal, soul, and the material world to a godly state. So we can connect this to this week's Torah portion as the teachings of the Mizitcher Magid, whose yahrzeit is the 19th of Kislev, his day of passing, passed away in 1772. So the parsha is called Vayeshev, which means he sat or he dwelled, Yaakov, Jacob, Be'eretz Miguri Ovid, Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of the settling of his father, the land of Canaan. Right. So what does this mean in spiritual terms? In, Rashi on Chumash explains it in the simple context of what it means. Yaakov wanted, um, had a lot of dealings, Yaakov, Jacob. He had to deal with Esav, his brother, twin brother. He had to deal with Lavan, his father-in-law. So now he's back after 22 years being out of Israel, Mesopotamia, in, in Haran. Now he's back. He wants to, just learn Torah, pray, do mitzvahs, yeshiv, dwell, sit, you know, and so on. Just like his forefathers, right? The dwellings of his father. So that's the simple meaning. Rashi explains, on that quite a lot. But let's understand this in a mystical way, spiritual. What does this mean? It means that Yaakov came.
7:13. Yeah. What is it? Yeah, 7:13. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. 7:13.
Okay, just a good idea. Everybody be muted, which I did. It's okay. So he's dwelling in the land, Yaakov. Yaakov represents the soul that comes down. Um, Comes from a lofty place and it dwells in a material in the land, right? Ba'aretz says V'yeshiv Yaakov Ba'aretz, and he dwelt Yaakov. Again, Yaakov is a holy man, so it refers to the holy soul that it comes into this world. How's it come here? It comes here in a way of a yeshiv, the soul, meaning it's gonna, it's staying here. Like, like you're sitting down comfortable. Someone asks you to, come and do something, and you're sitting comfortable, you know. So Yaakov is now sitting. He's back in what will become the land of Israel. Now it's Canaan, but right, in his father's place. So he's comfortable, meaning like you don't want, meanings like you don't want to get up, meaning you're staying put. So the soul's coming here in a way to stay put. But why is it coming here? So the verse continues, right? And remember, we're learning now the verse in a mystical manner. Yaakov, who's a holy man, refers to the holy soul that comes from heaven above. And it comes, right, to Vayeshev, to dwell in Ba'aretz, in the land, meaning in the materiality of this world. But why is it coming? Because of Meguri Aviv, the Megur means the dwelling, the coming together of his father, which is the idea of gathering. Gathering. And what are you gathering? What's the soul coming here to gather? What could a soul come here for? Soul doesn't come for the coffee. I'm a little tired when I wake up in the morning. What needs? It's my body that needs it, right? Be a little more alert. Or it could be my brain even. But my soul doesn't need coffee, right? So then, so then what's the soul coming here for? To gather sparks that are in the coffee. Sparks of the divine. God animates everything, gives life to everything, gives existence to everything. But that existence, that life, the spark of God, it's hidden. It's not revealed. What's the proof? I know about that, but I relate to this more of, the smell, the taste, the pickup, the boost that it gives. I relate more to that. There's a materiality. At the same time, I'm aware that there's a spark of the divine in here. So the soul is my body's coming for, the taste. My body's coming for the, the pep that it needs, the wake up that it needs. But the soul isn't coming for that. The soul is coming. The soul is coming for the spark of the divine that's there in order to give it an upgrade, to uplift it, to bring it also into a realm of the divine. It's pretty Now, further, in the teachings of the Mizitcher Magid, this the Alter Rebbe's teacher, if you remember, his Rebbe, the word Mikure Aviv, and we're taking apart the words of the Torah portion, this week's Torah portion, Vayeshev. So the word, the dwellings of his father, is another way to understand those words. First way we understood it means it means a gathering. The word megure, the Hebrew language is such that a word can have many different meanings based on context. So therefore, the first explanation of megur, of the gatherings of his father, right? A place you dwell is where you gather your family together, where you gather your things together, right? That's the idea. Another word for this is it also comes um, from the word reverence, the reverence of his father. What does that mean? It means to say, the soul comes into this world and it's here, right? The body wants just the pleasure of the coffee. The soul wants the divine sparks of the coffee. Who's going to win? It's a battle between the soul, what it's looking for, and the body and what it's looking for. And then when we say body, we also, together with that, of course, is the animal soul, because the animal soul is what animates the body. So who's going to win? The soul is got a handicap, not its own handicap, because the soul is divine. The handicap is it's now in a body, right? It came down into this world. Remember, up in heaven, the soul it's pure, unadulterated, it's righteous, it's connected, but now it's coming into the body, right? And in our body, by the way, our soul, like, you can't say, well, my soul is here or my soul is here and my body is, no, they're become one being, although they're different, different, I don't know, entities, different parts of one person. So, which voice are you going to listen to? The voice of the body, the voice of the soul. So the word Migori Aviv, meaning reverence of your father, what does that mean? If you recognize that this, that you're a soul and a body in a material world, that material world is very much after you to be, to engage in it in a way that it brings you down. Well, how are you going to be able to rise above? Right. And especially a world that you got a lot of not so nice people and you have wicked people even. So not only is your, actual being a soul in a body, that the body has its own agenda, but only that, you've got a material world around you that entices you. Not only that, but you've got the Eretz Canaan, the land of the Canaanites, right? That the Canaanites were evil people. So again, this is all a metaphor to understand that you've got people around you who have ill intent, right? They're just looking out for themselves. They're just trying to and manipulate you to get what they can from you. They ain't looking for your soul. They're not looking for your purity. They're not looking for your goodness, right? And that's all around you. How are you supposed to now hear your soul and its message? Miguriove, because of the reverence you have for your Father in heaven. If you have reverence to God, then you can overcome. Then you can overcome. Then you could overcome and do what? And recognize that your physical eye, what you see, and smell, and what you taste, and what you touch, what you hear, right? The material world around you. Well, the body's own agenda, right? Of being about just seeking pleasure and comfort. Material around you that entices you. The people who are totally head over heels taken by materiality of this world, which is most people, right? And not necessarily even in a bad way. Sometimes in a bad way. It's just, survival. Trying to survive. Trying to put bread on the table for my family. Right? So, which is important, of course. But what's missing? Oh no, there's something more. There's a spark of God that's animating all of my reality, which my mind's eye understands, but my physical eyes sees differently. What will give you the power to look, be motivated by your mind's eye rather than your physical eye? Having reverence for your Father in heaven. Right? Again, that's tying it into the verse. Miguri Aviv means also the reverence of his Father. In the mystical context, what does that mean? That we have reverence for God, our Father in heaven, right? And therefore that gives me the strength that I can overcome, right? The materiality of this world, the self-centeredness of the body, the challenge of people around me that, bring me down to, materiality, and I rise above. When you do that, you rise up to much greater place than your soul was even before it came down into this world. Your soul that was righteous, pure, whole, complete. You become something much greater. Because your soul has to get over the obstacles that we just mentioned. Obstacle of a body, the obstacle of an animal soul, the obstacle of the material world around us, the obstacle of people who, think about it. How many people do you come across today that talk to you about reverence of the divine, speak to you about holiness? That's not where people are at. So that's a lot to overcome. And when you do, when you overcome all those obstacles, then you arouse the love and the reverence that the soul has that's even greater than it was before it came down. And that's the whole purpose why you came. And then you'll be able to, then it's not about not engaging in the world. Yes, because, yeah, the coffee has a spark of the divine. My laptop has a spark of the divine. God's animating it, so it's got the spark of the divine. But then I'm going to use my world, my things in a divine way. Hi, hi. Wow. As always, I got to thank you all for being here, for my sake. I mean, what I mean for my sake, I learned this before on my own, but I didn't get a clarity until I express it in teaching. Because you're here, I expressed it in teaching that it's like, wow. Um, so I thank you for that. B and D. May I ask who you are? That you're, I think you're new. Welcome. An iPhone. Who is that, if I may ask? Uh-huh.
Rabbi, it's Batia.
Oh, it's
That's it.
Baccia, right?
Yeah.
Oh, B and D.
It's me, Bakya, and the
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and the
Oh,
clinic is
of course. I should have
David.
known. All right. Wow, 2 days in a row. Amazing. Okay, folks.